Probability. We're going to see the topic of probability. Copy the title. This topic is going to be very short. So we start by the definition of probability. What is a probability? A probability is the number of favorable outcomes, the outcome that we want, divided by the total number of possible outcomes. So for example, if you have a six-sided die, which is the common thing, we have a cube, like this is one, here you have two, here you have three. What is probability that when you roll the die, you get a one? Well, it's going to be 1/6 because you have 1 and you have six possible outcomes. Copy this. We're going to move on. So, properties of probabilities. First, a probability is any value between 0 and 1. 0 means that the probability or that the event never happens, and 1 means that the event always happens. Now, the second property is that the probability that something happens plus the probability of the something doesn't happen has to be equal to 1. So let's go back to my example. I have a die, I have a six-sided die, so this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3. So what is the chance of getting a 2 is 1/6. What is the chance of not getting a 2 is 5/6 because I have other possibilities. So 1/6 plus 5/6 is 6/6, which is equal to 1. So again, the addition of something happening plus something not happening has a probability of 1. 3. Probability of A or probability of B is equal to probability of A plus B. Plus probability of B. Okay, so if I want, what is the probability of getting a 1? 1/6. What is the probability of getting a 2? 1/6. So it will be 1/6 plus 1/6 will be 2/6, which is 1/3. Now let's see. Probability of A and probability of B, which means I want two things to happen at the same time. In this case, this happens if I have two die. So probability of something happening, getting a 2, 1/6. Probability of getting a 3, 1/6. So the probability of getting a 2 and a 3 at the same time will be 1/36. Pause the video right now. Copy everything you had to copy. We're going to move on. We're going to start doing this example. Pause the video, solve the question, write down your answer, and we're going to check. So the table above summarizes the mean preferences of passengers of a particular flight. And if a first class passenger is chosen at random, so it's about the first class, what is the probability that the passenger chosen prefers beef? Well, we look at the probability of the desired outcomes, which is first class preferring beef, which is 18, divided by the total number of outcomes, which is 18 plus 27. So we have 18 divided by 45, which is the probability that we're looking for. If you look at the alternatives, none of my alternatives look like this, which means I have to simplify. So I divide by 9, I get 2 divided by 5, which is letter B. Now, if you're going to notice, like, this is very simple. The probability questions in the SAT are rather simple. Most of the difficulties arise from what are we looking for? What is the total number of outcomes? So in this case, the total number of outcomes or the total cases is not the total number of passengers. It's just the first class passengers. So as long as you know what is your total, you're going to be fine applying just the definition of probability. Okay, knowing that, we're going to do one exercise from the digital SAT. I want you to pause it right now, solve this question, and write down the answer. And we are going to check. Okay, so they say each face of a fair 14-sided die, okay, so this is 14 sides, is labeled with a number from 1 through 14 with a different number appearing on each face, which means I have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, and so on. No number is repeating. And they say, if the die is rolled one time, what is the probability of rolling a 2? So in total, I have 14 numbers, so it will be out of 14. And what is the probability of getting a 2? Well, I only have 1, 2, so it will be 1/14, which will be the answer. So this is pretty much it. This is all you need for the probability topic in the SAT. If you want to practice more, you can use this chapter from the Panda book. You can also use Khan Academy or practice tests.